Several ways that different types of cases can be resolved are obviously with payment of fines and court costs, serving periods of supervision, which is probation or sometimes community control, and then hopefully the last resort is some period of incarceration, whether it's in county jail or in state or federal prison. A lot of folks have a question about having picked up a charge, for instance, of possession of marijuana or a petty theft, and the state fails to pick up that charge and charge them formally. They think that because the charge was never filed, that somehow this arrest record is erased from their criminal history, and that is just false. That is the reason why, despite having the good fortune of not having those charges filed against you, you still need to go back and go through the formal expungement or sealing process, whatever the situation may be. The process of sealing and expungement is essentially identical. Some of the requirements for each are different. First, an expungement requires that the charge either was dismissed by the court or by the prosecutor. So that's the first requirement. A sealing normally is involved in a case where a person pleads guilty or no contest to a crime that is otherwise eligible to be sealed, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But then they serve some sort of period of supervision or probation, and they successfully terminate that and can later seal that record. Most violent crimes cannot be sealed regardless of what type of sentence someone received. So things like drug trafficking, robberies, burglaries, aggravated batteries, things like that, regardless of how the person has resolved that case, they're not going to be able to seal that from public view going forward. On the other side is, even with a serious crime, if the prosecutor or the court dismisses that charge against a particular client, that person can, going forward, if they're otherwise eligible, expunge that record. The process is, or the primary requirement for either is that the applicant cannot have ever been adjudicated guilty or convicted or adjudicated delinquent as a juvenile of any criminal offense anywhere in the world. So most folks say, well, I've never had a problem in Florida before. Does it matter? If you've had a problem in Colorado or Massachusetts, it's going to follow you. Those criminal records are going to be found. So that's the singular criteria that we hone in on with a client to determine in just a few minutes whether you're eligible. So that's why I encourage folks to call the office. My paralegal is very well versed in these laws, and she can tell you in a matter of moments whether we can do this process for you.